Here we go.
All right, guys, we're ready for our four-season sunroom, and Daddy's gonna get a rec room with refreshments.
Oh no, we'll be sleeping under the stars.
Mom, what about the one with...
Here we go.
All right, guys, we're ready for our four-season sunroom, and Daddy's gonna get a rec room with refreshments.
Oh no, we'll be sleeping under the stars.
Mom, what about the one with, the fun?
Nice try, little bro. It's a gym. My gym.
Hey, Grandma's getting her Four Seasons garden room. Weather tight and still like being outdoors.
Maybe a living room. Oh no, wait, a family hub.
Yeah!
No matter what the budget, the season, or the climate, Four Seasons Sunrooms let you and your family enjoy the outdoors inside. Call now to receive your free, no-obligation brochure from the premier manufacturer of sunrooms since 1975.
More reasons for Four Seasons now.
To find out more, call toll-free 800-928-7007. That's 800-928-7007. Call 800-928-7007 today.
And happy Thursday evening, everyone. This is For Whom the Bell Tolls. I'm Lou. I'm here with Dr. Randy Arrington. Good evening, Dr. Arrington.
Good evening, and I am so honored to be here with you, Lou.
Wait
a minute, I call you Winch, right? Not Lou.
Well, you can call me either, as you usually do.
And only Harry calls you Lou. I call you Winch because you don't take crap from anybody.
That's right, exactly, and it's kind of caught on. I have a lot of people calling me Winch these days. But it's really good to have you. We're glad to be here, and we have some really good information and analysis tonight on Mrs. Clinton's email.
We've got in the Beltway Bandits circles there that has the guts to do the right thing for the country and stop either protecting themselves from blackmail or enriching themselves through bribery. We've got to do the right thing for the country, and this is just festering. And you love national security as I do, and that's the whole mantra for your Thursday show. And we've got to do something about this. We have to have the courage to stop this right now and tell what actually has occurred with Mrs. Clinton.
Yes, absolutely, and that's what we're going to do tonight. And we're going to break it up into three sections. We're going to start with the content of her emails and the national security implications and the risk that she created with that content. The most important thing to understand is that, and this has been the topic of conversation from the beginning because it was her first violation, is that she created a personal or multiple personal email accounts on a homebrew server, which is basically a server you set up in your house. I could take my laptop and make it a server. Would it be secure? Probably not. And that is the biggest problem. She had an insecure email server that she was using for what we have found out should have been secured information at the highest level.
At the highest level. This is not James Bond. This is real life. And people's lives are and have been and continue to be in jeopardy because of her recklessness with this material.
Real people's lives, American heroes. There is no telling what kind of information she.
Investigating Mrs. Clinton. She is the subject of our investigation. You find that odd?
I do find the timing odd because yes, I find the timing a little bit odd, especially when there is a Democrat in the White House and she is the Democrat forerunner. I find it very odd.
That Democrat in the White House can't stand Mrs. Clinton. I told you, Joe Biden and Elizabeth Warren are going to probably end up being the ticket. Kerry might even throw his hat in there. Won't that be fun? We get to have Kerry to kick around again for a couple of months. But
yeah, I can't. And there's the only way that they can pull that off at this stage in the game is to somehow get her out of the race, so that they have an emergency situation where they have to bring in new candidates because there's only one left, which would be Bernie Sanders.
Right.
Right. So it's odd, but then again, if you think about it in those terms, it's underhanded and corrupt and ridiculous, but it could actually be the case. So let's talk about the content of her servers. They divulge, so they would copy and paste out of documents that were secured at the highest level into emails. This is what we found out about a week ago. Into emails that were obviously not secured. Some information went to Sidney Blumenthal. Actually, he had no clearance. He didn't work for the government. He was on AOL. AOL admitted that he was hacked. So, and we'll get into that when we get into the security and the hackability of where all these emails were. So, it's been determined that up to 30 people, and this was just yesterday, I think, up to 30 people in the State Department viewed these emails. So they took the information, they put them in unsecured emails, and they shared them with people that they never should have been shared with, regardless of whether they were secure or not.
I don't even think Uma Weiner has a clearance for that type of stuff.
I hope she doesn't, because she's blackmailable.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they don't get much more blackmailable than that, and that's, if you're blackmailable, you don't get clearance.
Did you hear the latest? How should I put this? The latest line of reasoning coming out of Mrs. Clinton's mouth about this email stuff. She said initially it was, well, it never happened. And then the next line was, well, it happened, but you know what? Everybody does it. I think she fingered Colin Powell and Condi Rice. And then after that, what difference at this point does it make?
Yeah.
And then she actually said that what the FBI is doing, this is before they announced, the day before the New Hampshire voting, that this is basically a security review that she requested. Can we just move on now? And you know what? Let me just tell you something. The FBI doesn't do security reviews. They do felony criminal investigations.
And that's an indicator of how stupid that she believes the American people to be.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the biggest indicator right there. But let's talk about what was actually in those emails. What did we found out was in those emails? Extremely sensitive operational details with people's names, the roles that they're playing, the programs that we have going at the highest security level. And these are, a lot of them, clandestine programs, or they were. I don't know how clandestine they are anymore, because my guess would be that anybody that wanted to know about them knows about them at this point.
Well, we're not even the people in the intelligence community are not supposed to be privy and know the existence of certain SAP programs, special access programs, that are higher than top secret and sensitive compartment information. We can probably surmise that this is happening, but we don't actually know. I could be a high-level intelligence officer, but I don't know the existence of this program over here that is monitoring Belarus or Belgium or whatever. I don't know the existence of that, let alone the Americans that are engaged or the foreigners that are engaged in that espionage. It happens all the time. You know this, Lou. But we're not supposed to know this. And now all of a sudden, she's let the cat out of the bag, and the government has to start sort of coming up with some explanations for this. Isn't that what you've learned?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I've learned. And there are different people refer to top secret information, and that's the term that's thrown around all the time. But there are, as we've learned, at least two levels that are higher than that. The TSSCI, which is the one that we've talked about before, the top secret, the compartmentalized information, which is, and you explain that to me as, I might get to see some of the information and I get to see what I need to know, but nobody gets all the pieces put together.
That's correct.
Right.
That's correct.
So, and that secures the information. The SAP program is even more secure, and I don't think we want to get into the details, right, of how it works, because my understanding of what we learned about that program is that even the details of how it worked were supposed to be somewhat secret, and they're coming out now. This is another way that she's compromised our security, because now the details of this program and the knowledge of these programs are coming out because more into the public domain because of her compromising the information. So even in the most basic way, she's compromised these programs. Now beyond that, this designation is very compartmentalized. So if TSSCI is compartmentalized, this is uber compartmentalized secret information that really maybe one person has the pieces to, and the hoops to jump through to see that information are huge. Having that clearance is, I think you and I talked about, there are generals and admirals and that don't have access to this information because they don't meet the criteria.
They don't need to know. Exactly right.
Right, exactly. And when information is that secret and that compartmentalized and that protected, and they took that information, put it in an unsecure system, and shared it with dozens of people in the office.
The way I would frame what you just said earlier is she's displayed callous disregard and disrespect for the national security of this nation and for the lives of those specified men and women who are engaged in that activity to protect our country. It has to be there. And she just callous disrespect for their lives. It's, I call her a sociopath and a pathological liar. She doesn't care about anything or anybody but her own rear end.
And I absolutely believe that, and this is why I've never had a government job. I've never worked for the government. Yeah, I have an interest in national security, but if you showed me a document with the name of a spy in it, or even the name of a clandestine operation, what that operation was, I would know better than to copy and paste that into my AOL email.
Well, you and I would, but we have respect for the United States of America and for our national security and the sovereignty of our country. But she doesn't. And she instills that feeling in the people, the little minions that work around her in her little close proximity.
Yeah.
Cheryl Mills and Uma Weiner and Jake Sullivan and Sidney Blumenthal and Sidney Blumenthal's kid, who hate Israel. And that's exactly what she brings out of people, because she gives them the latitude to put their hate on full display, because she's going to protect them.
Right. And there were at least, 30 people in the office that either didn't think anything about it or didn't think enough about it to say something.
Well, and I sent you that one of my contacts sent me that very astute analysis of what's going on, and he's involved in it. You got to read that, and I think when you read that, Lou, you felt the passion that this guy was feeling as he was writing those words.
Yeah.
Because his life's on the line, and he is protecting and managing other men and women engaged in this big clandestine game that is part of our national security. And if they die, he's going to blame himself, and he's going to feel pretty badly just for himself. But it's all her fault.
Well, and that's how most people feel about it, right? They realize that when they have the name of someone who protects our national security at that level, that they are they hold pretty precious information in their hands, and they go to the carpet to protect it.
Exactly.
So
as they should.
Right. So we are, I think, the norm for someone to be so full of hatred for our country is, as you said, to put someone's life at risk. I think that's a whole nother level of hate.
That's just vile and heinous.
It is.
I use those words a lot. It is exactly what it is. And she's a vile, poisonous woman. And if I was, standing right next to her and she looked at me in the eye, I'd just tell her that to her face. No offense intended. I'm going to tell the truth, ma'am. You're a vile, heinous, poisonous woman. You need to just go away.
And here's a really good example. Of history. Right. Here's a really good example of why one report, well, and several reports actually, were that the classified information was removed from the classified documents and placed in emails that were not classified or marked not classified. So they knew very well that the information was classified, and they moved it over to systems, not just systems that were not classified, but emails that were marked unclassified.
Correct. And that was part of the emails. I think you sent me something when I was doing research for the show. There's a guy, I believe his name is Christopher Stewart. He's a representative, a Republican representative. I think it's Utah, and he's on the Intelligence Committee there in the House. And he said he has never. He saw those 22 emails. He's cleared to see them. He's never seen anything that had the type of classified, sensitive information in it than those 22 emails that she sent out callously as being unclassified.
Yes, and when you talk about callous, that's pretty callous. And it's either, and we've talked about this a lot when we've talked about Obama and Hillary Clinton and a lot of other people. Just the callousness of taking very sensitive classified information and putting it in an email that says unclassified.
Even the heinous Richard Nixon, if you're looking at him from the leftist point of view, and I'm going to tell you right now, I teach the American presidency. Nixon was not that bad of a president, actually. He did a lot of really good things. He made a lot of mistakes, too, don't get me wrong. But he would never do this. Never.
No,
and she is just beyond.
I can't see Nixon doing it either, but my comment on Nixon is always that Nixon was never corrupt until he was.
I like that. You're a smart girl.
Did
you learn this intelligence at the blood bank, or who did you work for? Blood bank?
It's all Meredith College, baby.
Oh, good. I love it.
But seriously, he was sucked into a for self-interest. It's sucked into kind of a culture of corruption and just people trying to protect him and get him reelected and, make certain things happen and battle the DNC and things like that. These people, Mrs. Clinton particularly, But some of the others, Barack Obama, it's like they were born corrupt.
Yeah, that's good. That's a very astute analysis. And you know what I say? They are definitely sociopaths and pathological liars, both of them. I just don't understand how the 42 or 45% of the people that would vote for no matter who ends up on that left ticket there from the Democratic Party, how they can't see that. Well, they don't care, because all they care about is give me some free stuff. I'll give you my freedom. I'll be a slave, but just give me my free stuff. You do what you want. Stuff that you're doing up there at the high levels of government doesn't affect me. You know what, wench? It affects them. They don't have any idea how much it affects them. If this country's national security goes down the tubes, guess what? Everything that they've ever had or will have is going to be compromised to the hilt. And they don't understand that.
Right, and that's a great way to explain it, to just say all that free stuff you love is gone if you don't step up when it comes to national security. If you don't care about national security, then say goodbye to your free stuff, because it's not going to be there. But I don't know that it matters, because not unintentionally, they created that culture of dependency. This is another show.
Well, and we've talked about that. That's where you have to have a chief executive, one that has a deep love for this country and the founding principles that we were created by those 57 men in Philadelphia, and the Constitution and the traditional American values and principles. Have to have a guy in the White House or a gal in the White House that just has an affinity and a love for that stuff, and puts that out to the rest of the people, makes them understand how important that is. Because if you lose that, then the soft underbelly of the nation rips wide open, and you got no nation, you got nothing except slavery.
And that's why we talk about it on this show, because it is very important, and a lot of people don't know a lot about it, and a lot of people don't realize how important it is. And with that thought, we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back and talk about hackers, hacking, and fun stuff like that. We will be
excellent.
We'll be right back.
This is JD.
And this is Stacy.
Join us Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, for Game On. Remember,
lock up the children and the old folks.
Game On, the home of liberservative conservatarians.
Where no one is safe, no one is spared, not even the hosts.
Oh, that was supposed to be a spin cycle. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. We love you anyway. Right round, baby.
Self-monitoring
right
Ebola radio strikes again.
Anyway.
Anybody see the host monkey? Today. Where's the host monkey? Where's the host monkey? For God's sake, I need an antidote. Just do your rant. Let's pop out of the segment.
Find us on Twitter at JD and Stacy.
You're listening to K98Talk.com.
I've seen this happen before. There's a full moon out tonight. I'm a fool, but you can't fool me twice. I wear my secret deception just like a disguise. When I reveal myself in the light, stick around and you might pay the price. Enough with the questions, it's time that we said our goodbyes.
I knew that this wouldn't be easy.
Try not to tie it down.
No, nothing you say can appease me.
If you wanted to go, then you would have been gone before now. The darkness abounds.
All right, we're back. We're going to talk about fun stuff now, which is hacking. It's fun stuff to talk about to me. So you ready, Dr. A? Dr. Arrington? All right. Sounds like we lost Dr. Arrington for a second. And I am just going to jump into this. So the homebrew server is probably the biggest problem that I think that there is with Hillary's emails. Securing a server is a really complicated thing, and skilled hackers can get into just about anything. My understanding of it is that there's not a lot that they can't get into, and we are. All right, you are back with Dr. Arrington and Lou, for whom the bell tolls, and we are talking about Mrs. Clinton's emails, because that's what Dr. A likes to call her, is Mrs. Clinton. So we're down to the security part. We ran through the content a little, and one thing that I didn't mention was something that the Daily Caller had said, which was one member of the House Intelligence Committee Wednesday, who said this obviously not for attribution, because this quote was not attributed to him, but he did say he has never read anything that's more sensitive than the information in her emails. And this was without the 22 that could not be released. So
goodness, I thought that included the 22. Oh my goodness.
No, he wouldn't have seen the 22.
Wow.
So, yeah.
He's on the Intelligence Committee in the House of Representatives and doesn't even have the security clearance to see these TS, SCI, and the SAP programs,
right,
which we just talked about. Isn't that amazing? But she's just pushing this out all over the world on her unsecure email server in the bathroom there, so that any country, any Tom, Dick, and Vladimir can hack in there and read what she's sending.
So those 22 emails with that unbelievably sensitive information, really. I mean, that's the category that I would put it in, is unbelievably sensitive.
Did you like that Tom, Dick, and Vladimir?
Yeah, Tom, Dick. Yeah, that was good. Sorry.
Funny.
I just went right over that. I'm sorry. That was a really good joke. But that shows her the callousness of it.
Yeah.
The volume of information, sensitive information that was in her emails, because it was a huge volume of information. With those 22, we're just talking about that very sensitive, that one very, very highly sensitive program. All the other emails, there's lots of other information, sensitive information, and things she was sharing with people that she should not have been sharing with them. People even outside of the government, like Sidney Blumenthal. Sidney Blumenthal uses AOL for email. We'll get into that in a minute. But
I didn't know AOL is still around. I thought they went out of business.
Yeah, right, yeah. Well, he... So I know exactly. It's like, who even uses AOL anymore? But no, that was his email, and so that shows that it was almost intent. You know, you have to wonder at that point if there's some intent behind it. The other thing that was really interesting is that they found that she was having conversations about Israel where she was being extremely disparaging. I thought that was really interesting that she was having those conversations in her personal email, and now those conversations are available as well, which, you know, could hurt her with the Jewish vote. That would be a good thing.
It's interesting what you just said. There's a difference, too, between callous neglect, callous disregard, and callous intent.
Mm-hmm.
If she's got callous intention, she's doing that for specific reasons. Obviously, her own enrichment, her and her hubby there, her pseudo hubby, and that's worse than incompetence and disregard.
Yeah.
That's motivation. That's
So,
motive.
From a security perspective, first we have information that we're sharing with Sydney Blumenthal, who runs on AOL. AOL admitted that Blumenthal's email was hacked.
They did? Oh my goodness.
Yes, they did. This was in one of the Observer articles that I dropped you.
Yeah.
So, AOL has admitted that Blumenthal's email was hacked. One of the things that Mrs. Clinton had shared with Mr. Blumenthal in his email was, for some inexplicable reason, now we're back to that, is there an intent to be callous, or is there some nefarious intent here? Inexplicably included a highly sensitive top secret code word. Or top secret code word intelligence from the NSA.
That's nefarious intent, not incompetence.
Why in the world would you send that to Blumenthal, first of all, and then the information was put at risk because his AOL email was hacked? Now, anybody who's ever had Yahoo email knows how easy it is to hack email, because I've never had a Yahoo email account that didn't get hacked and used as a spam email account like once a month. That's why I don't use Yahoo anymore.
I want you to educate me. What does that actually mean from an IT perspective when you get hacked? What does that mean? To educate me.
So anything that is hacked, it means someone who doesn't have access to it gains access to it. Basically. Okay. I mean, that's the easiest way to put it. It could be that it's a government server with sensitive information and the Chinese get access. They find a vulnerability in the defenses of that server, and they get in and they look at the information. They could drop a virus on it. They could do whatever. If you're talking about email, typically like a lot of spammers will hack an email to use your email as a spam account. And this is what always would happen with my Yahoo. Somebody would hack into my email and use it to spam all my friends.
Yeah, so we've done a couple of free shows with these anonymous guys, these anons, and those are kind of fun to do and very enlightening. So you could hack into somebody's account like they do and disband it, get rid of it, make it go away. Now they no longer have that account. Or
bring it down.
You can hack into somebody's account. Bring it down. Or you can hack into somebody's account clandestinely and just monitor it and gain information, useful information from that activity of the person that's doing that account has no idea they've been hacked.
Yes, you can go.
Or doesn't care they've been hacked.
You can. These guys are all so much smarter than me, but you can code just about anything, drop it on a server, monitor it. You can monitor keystrokes. This is how people hack bank accounts, which none of the anonymous guys that I know actually do. They don't do that kind of hacking, but they are the ones that I talk to on Twitter, because I wouldn't say that I actually know them, but and the ones that we've had on our show, they don't hack bank accounts, but some hackers do. There are hackers out there, and China's got a lot of them. They love to hack bank accounts, or try to hack into U.S. banks and bring bank servers down and things like that. So Russians too. So it's gaining access, and a lot of times if they're good and they know what they're doing, they're going to drop something on that server to monitor the activity. They can drop something on your machine to monitor your keystrokes so that they can steal your passwords and things like that. So hackers can do a lot of things. They're brilliant. They're code geniuses, and find a vulnerability in just about everything. And there are very few servers in the world that have no vulnerability to them, or that can handle attacks at the level. And this is the most frustrating thing, I think, for me, knowing about this story, is that our government servers are some of the least hackable servers in the world. Our government does a really good job of securing and closing all those vulnerabilities.
That's correct.
She took information off of those most secure in the world servers and put them on homebrew email servers. So she took information that was secured and made it unsecured.
And haven't we found out that she's got more than 2 of these homebrew private servers, not just the one in the bathroom? She had a couple of them, correct?
Yeah, I have seen a report that she had more than one. And so the question is, what's on them all? But this is where she made a really horrible mistake. And she used, and this may actually come out in the investigation and the prosecution. We'll talk about this in the next segment.
Okay.
But she opened herself up, I think, when she married her State Department activity with the Clinton email server. But we'll get to that in a little bit when we talk about prosecution, because I think that's going to be a problem for her. So,
only if somebody has the courage to make it a problem for her.
well, that's true. I mean, that is the big thing. Where it's somebody going to step up and be brave enough to make this a problem for her? Well, I don't think we'll know until we get there, right? So,
I'm tired of this Teflon coating that seems to surround the Clintons. And I think all 3 of them, including Chelsea Hubble, a.k.a. Chelsea Clinton, need to go away. Is that, am I being too hard?
No, I think we have to.
I know JD likes to hear that stuff. He likes it when I get intellectually funny.
Right.
Did you get that, Chelsea Hubble?
I think we can make them go away by prosecuting her. I mean,
exactly.
look at Nixon was never, he was kind of persona non grata.
He was never heard from again, basically.
Right, exactly. So
we didn't
the
have
best way to make her go away is to prosecute her.
Exactly.
Yeah. So very, very secure servers housing secure information. And then the secure information that we've already determined was extremely sensitive, put people's lives at risk, put operations at risk, and put this country at risk, was removed from those very secure servers and put on very insecure servers. This is like taking something from, from the FBI or from the NSA, often the NSA server, and giving it to GoDaddy.
No.
Does that sound safe?
Yes. No, it does not sound safe.
No, it's not. It's like I'm gonna take this NSA information, this intelligence from the National Security Agency and put it in my GoDaddy email. No.
No.
Yeah, that's unsecuring information. And was it done intentionally? I mean, I think we have to ask that question, because the volume of it and the extreme sensitivity of it, those 2 things together beg the question, was this done intentionally?
The answer to that question is absolutely. She does it intentionally. She does not care about anything but her own rear end. I didn't say a bad word, I said rear end.
Well, yeah, internet radio, you can say what you want, but I would have to agree with you. There's not that much stupidity in them. Like, I might think that their ideology is stupid and it doesn't make sense. But these people aren't that stupid.
Well, but you know what? We talked about this many times before, that I don't think the United States can ever be brought down by an outside entity. I think that it's going to have to, if it ever happens, and Lord prevent it, hopefully it doesn't happen, it's going to be because of internal heinous treason. And that's what she's doing. She is engaged in treason. Mm-hmm. And the minions that surround her and those knuckleheads that want to vote for her, even to this day, do not understand the concept of treason and how that jeopardizes national security and how their individual security is wrapped around national security. They don't get it.
Exactly. But this is where I think they are very stupid.
Are you saying Jonathan Gruber was right? The American people are stupid as a whole?
Not the American people, the people in government. Mrs. Clinton and her minions and, all of them. And whoever else has done anything ridiculously stupid, like set up a homebrew server.
Right.
If I had the opportunity to communicate through the most secure system in the world versus setting up my own server in my house that I knew was going to have a limited security on it, especially compared to U.S. government server security.
Right.
That is idiotic. I don't care what I have to say. I don't care who's not going to like it. I want it to be secure. If I'm the Secretary of State, I certainly want it to be secure from China and Russia and North Korea. I
want people in the listening audience out there and those wonderful people in the chat room, K98 chat room, to know this is absolutely true. Wench forced Dr. A to pay for some sort of secure communications method. I think it's called FREMA, and so we can communicate and have privacy and some semblance of security in the things that we say to each other. So I know she takes it seriously, people. Trust me on this one subject.
Yes, I do. There are some things that I want to talk to you about from time to time that I want encrypted, and yeah, that's one of the more popular encryption apps, encrypted messaging apps. And yes, so sometimes I want my communications with you to be encrypted. I'm serious about, and I'm not as serious as I should be. I catch myself making mistakes and doing things that I'm like, oh, that probably wasn't the most secure way to do that.
Right.
But at least I think about it. And if I'm given the opportunity to pass sensitive information through a secure method versus a not secure method, I care enough to use the secure method.
Exactly.
And for them not to, it's like you said, it's either incredibly stupid or it's incredibly callous. And
Correct.
I don't really even care which one, because either of them disqualifies those people to ever hold a trusted office again.
Well, stupidity can be callous, ignorance can be callous, as well as nefarious motivation can be callous.
Yeah.
And they're two separate dynamics for the same behavior.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So we're going to cut to our next break real quick and get out of this segment. And we will come back and talk about the prosecution, and you get to answer the questions in the last segment, Doc.
I do or they do?
You do.
Oh, no.
Yay.
Okay.
All right, we'll be right back.
I looked all over, so how can it be? Here comes the wrecking ball, swinging at me.
K98 Talk is continuing to expand its lineup. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at advertise@k98talk.org.
They know I mean well and smiling as hell if they try. They open their mouths, only hatred spews out with their
And we're back. So let's talk about Hillary's prosecution that hopefully is impending. You with me, Doc?
I am, and I've got a steak and lobster dinner riding on this whole Hillary prosecution thing.
You
with
definitely do.
Stacey, yeah.
Yeah, because Stacey doesn't believe it's going to happen.
Right. Stacey's been wrong before.
Huh. Yeah,
Don't
and
tell
I'm
me
sure
that.
you won't admit to have been wrong, ever being wrong.
Oh,
before.
I'm wrong all the time, and I do fully admit it, trust me.
All right, well, so you think that she's going to be prosecuted. What's the holdup?
Well, my sources tell me that the big holdup now is that she's playing, with the Beltway Bandits there, she's playing this huge game of blackmail with all of them. And she's spread the word through her little network of minions there that if you are going to persist with this FBI investigation in an attempt to have me indicted, then if that occurs, I ain't going down by myself. I'm going to spill the beans on everybody. She's got, my sources tell me that she's got ugly information, detrimental information to careers in Washington that will bring the careers of these politicians down in a big hoopla, and they don't want that to happen. They want to protect themselves. They're just self-interested. So that's that's happening right now. It's blackmail and bribery, just like we talk about in the Chicago way, and it's happening right now. But I'm of the opinion somebody is finally going to have the courage to come forward. And you know what, come to think of it, if she does spill the beans on a lot of these people, you know, we talked a couple of weeks ago about, I think that the what is necessary and needed desperately in Washington, D.C. is a political enema, a full body cleanse. And I think I made JD laugh when I said that on Twitter. So that might be a good thing if it comes to fruition and we get rid of all these people, have that political enema and that full body cleanse. And I think what's going to happen eventually, and I've told you this, I think the reason that it came out the day before the New Hampshire primary started voting, that Mr. Obama is the one that's controlling the pace of this investigation with the FBI. He's the one that gave them permission to do it, and he's the one that's given them permission to release little tidbits of information strategically according to his temporal sequence. He does not want her to be the replacement president sitting in the White House after him. Trust me, he does not. He cannot see, hates her guts with a passion. And so I think he's going to finally allow this to occur. She will be indicted. She will get arrested. She'll get booked. She'll get incarcerated for a time being. She'll be arraigned. She'll get bailed out, obviously. She'll continue to campaign. Do you know that, Lou? She can continue, even though she's been arrested and indicted, she's still innocent until proven guilty. She can still continue to campaign, continue to lie, continue to blame others, continue to deceive, and hopefully continue to plummet in the polling. This eventually will be the trial. You think the O.J. Simpson trial was the trial of the century? This will make that look like kiddie play.
Yeah,
this will be the trial of the century.
Yeah,
and I personally believe she will, listen to this, Miss Stacy, I think she will be tried, convicted, and imprisoned. They'll probably bail her out again to have an appeal, but that conviction will be upheld, and she will be imprisoned into the dustbin of history, Miss Stacy.
I certainly hope so. I think my problem at this point is that I don't want to get my hopes up because I've been disappointed enough, and I remember, you know, Bill Clinton perjuring himself and parsing his words. And I know this is nothing, that was nothing compared to this, but, you know, when you look at everything that Barack Obama has done, that, you know, we wish that he would be held accountable for, I've almost given up on people being held accountable.
Well, you and I get held accountable. Why should they be any different, you know?
They're special.
Well, no, I think Mrs. Clinton has a long overdue rendezvous with justice that is patiently waiting for her. You know, we talk about her being a liar, callously so. Her latest lie, her latest outrageous lie, if you remember this, Lou, was she said she was offered $650,000 or $675,000 by Goldman Sachs to give, I think it was 2 or 3 one-hour speeches. And, of course, the guy that runs Goldman Sachs is a guy named Robert Rubin, who's, I think he was Clinton's former Secretary of the Treasury, was he not? Do you remember that guy, Robert Rubin?
Yes. Yeah, I think you're right.
I think he was. Well,
Treasury or Commerce, or yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Secretary of the Treasury. But it turns out that she was not offered $675,000. That's what her agent demanded that she receive.
Anybody that believed that is crazy because that's not the way it works. You're not
Exactly.
offered an amount of money to speak. You're called and said, how much do you charge to speak? And the agent demands a certain amount of money. That's the way it works.
And for those of you out there listening, in the wonderful listening audience, and in that romper room, K98 Talk, just let me tell you what Lou Wench pays me to be co-host of For Whom the Bell Tolls. Well, I can't tell you. It's so much money that I can't even.
Really.
Can't even reveal it to you.
Not a dollar, and a wonderful friendship.
It's my honor. It's my honor to be a part of this whole shebang. By the way, my contacts also, we talked about this offline, told me that Mrs. Clinton's emails have been hacked by Russia and China, North Korea, Germany, Iran, and Israel. Every one of those countries
And I
knows
want to be
her business.
Everyone her business that she had on her homebrew servers, because
Exactly.
it's not our government servers that they hacked into. Again, she took information from secure servers and put them on insecure servers. Therefore, they were vulnerable to hacking.
Don't get me wrong; they are trying to hack into our government assets as well. That
Right.
my time in the Navy, we had to watch out for that constantly. But you mentioned earlier in the show, those are highly secure, and they are, and they're really well done.
American banks are highly secure, incredibly difficult to hack. I think probably somebody somewhere along the line has probably hacked one, but they get attacked on a regular basis where the hackers fail to get in. So it's not like a server in a closet. There are any number of. You could probably start with corporations, the government, banks, pharmaceutical companies, and list 100,000 more secure servers than those that Hillary Clinton had classified information on.
Exactly. You said it was in a closet. I thought it was in a bathroom next to a commode. But
it actually moved. That server actually, I believe, was physically moved once or twice. So it was in a server closet, it was in a bathroom, and it was incredibly insecure. Because not only was it, technologically not secured and not locked down, and from a technical perspective very hackable, it was also physically moved. So who even knows the server that they're using now for her emails? Who even knows if it's the original server? I mean, you think it's about as easy if you were moving servers around. It's not quite as easy to swap, bags in an airport like in a James Bond movie. But it can be done. I mean, you mirror the server, you set it up, and you take one back with you to Russia.
If it wasn't so serious, it had such serious implications for our national security, it's almost like a comedy of errors.
Yeah, it's Keystone Cops for sure. And if it were not so sensitive, the information weren't so sensitive, weren't so dangerous to us as people, as the constituents, as the citizens of this country, but also those people that are named, the spies that their names are given away, the programs, the clandestine programs that are given away or potentially given away, because we can't see the information, so we don't know what it is, and all we can do is suppose based on what we've been told.
She uncovered foreign national spies and American spies.
Mm-hmm.
And people,
exactly.
like I'm sure you know this, we engage in espionage every single day. We have to gather intelligence. Human intelligence is a big part of national security.
But you said something coming into this block. You said something coming into this block that I want to make sure we get out of this block before we run out of time, which was that the blackmail train has started, that
Correct.
she is threatening, and she dropped a hint in the last Democrat debate after you had told me that, and if you had not already told me that, I might not have picked it up. But she basically said, and not basically said, but she absolutely said when they asked her about her emails, well, if I'm in trouble for doing that, there are going to be a whole lot of people in trouble.
Don't you just love the way that sets your mind up to analyze things?
That was the way that she chose to phrase the everyone does it, basically.
Yeah.
I don't think that was by accident. She's not someone who chooses words by accident. Everything's very parsed. It's very thought out.
Well, she's got about 15 people helping her write the words, and you're exactly right. What is the definition of is? And
right.
So
yeah, that's a good one. So if She chose those words in a debate to put that out there. She has absolutely, this is my take on it, no fear. There's no fear in these people about who they threaten and where and how they do it. If she would throw that out there in a debate.
That's one of the traits of a sociopath.
It is, isn't it?
Yes,
it is.
She has no regard for anything, anybody but herself.
Yeah, I can get away with it.
Yeah, I don't think she has any regard for Bill Clinton, except for he's a gravy train for her. If this wasn't a couple that was a political couple, political power, she would divorce him a long time ago. But she knows what kind of guy he is and what he's been doing.
And that was my thought. I don't know that, if I were married to Bill Clinton, that I would have much regard for him either. But,
no.
I don't have a whole lot of regard for him now. But I wouldn't stay married to him either.
No.
So there's that.
I would have a cup of coffee with Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton, he's a sociopath as well. His modus operandi as a sociopath is charm. He charms everybody he meets, and that's how he got to where he was in the White House.
Right.
And what she does is she basically will denigrate everybody she meets. She sucks the life out of any room that she walks into. For the life of me, Lou, I can't understand how there are still people out there that literally worship her and worship Mr. Obama. I just don't, for the life of me, Lou, I don't understand it.
I don't either, but there are people that worshipped Hitler. There are people that worship, Those horrible people always have people that worship them. Sociopaths know how to make people worship them. It's really kind of scary.
They live vicariously through them. They can get their free stuff at the expense of their freedom, or those people in her close proximity, her little inner circle, that's their ticket to sustained political power.
Yeah.
And sustained economic power.
There's also a dynamic, I think, of saying what people want to hear, or making people believe that you believe what they want to believe, or that they can believe what they want to believe.
Irving Janis wrote that book,
Right. You validate everything. When you and when you validate everything that people are doing, it's really easy to make people worship you, because you're just validating them over and over and over again. You're validating their lifestyle, you're validating their feelings, you're validating in this PC world that we live in, that's what it's all about. So, but anyway, back to the prosecution. So you think the prosecution is going to happen? You think she's actually going to be indicted, but she can still run for president? There's a good chance that there's a chance that they could have an indicted nominee.
Well, I think that if that comes to fruition, the superdelegates which is an interesting concept in the Democratic Party, will get together with Obama and the other leaders of the Democratic Party. No, we can't do this because she'll get killed in the general election. We have to get rid of her. The superdelegates will not support her at the convention.
And
they'll draft a Biden or a Kerry with Elizabeth Warren as the number 2 on the ticket.
And that's the perfect way to end this show. If she's indicted, the superdelegates will bail on her.
Correct.
Perfect way to end the show. We'll be back next Thursday. You can catch us right here on K98 Talk on Sundays for office hours. We'll be here this Sunday with a brand new show, WNJC out of Philadelphia, 1360 AM, on Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Say goodnight, Dr. A.
Good night, everybody. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thanks for being here. We'll see you next week.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, security, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino. And how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method and to get your free report, go to 29security.com. That's the number 29security.com. 29security.com. Go to 29security.com.